Welcome to Housing TV News at the top of the hour. I am Flora Arnie. Here are the top stories. Steering Committee on National Housing Data holds maiden meeting, promises to deliver mandate. NLC President released on bail. RAPS Committee indicts Bureau for Public Enterprise over 10 billion naira wastage. Parents frustrated as damaged classroom at Ikorodu School remains unrepaired. In business, Naira weakens in parallel market strengthens in Nigerian autonomous foreign exchange market. On the foreign scene, James L. Jones, voice of Darth Vader, died aged 93. In sports, Super Falconer to face Japan. Now the news in full. The Steering Committee on National Housing Data, which was set up by the Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Architect Ahmed Dangiwa, had its first maiden meeting at the ministry's headquarters in Abuja. The committee was set up to develop a framework for addressing one of the most pressing challenges facing the country: the accurate generation and analysis of housing data, which is needed for evidence-based planning in the housing sector. Delivering his opening remarks, the Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, Dr. Marcus Ogumbiye, encouraged the committee members to share their insights for every contribution. He added that these contributions are invaluable and it is through collective efforts that innovation can be identified. Approach, address data gaps and develop a comprehensive understanding of the housing sector.
Can see the zeal. Please, let's keep the flag flying. Let's keep it up. Let's keep the spirit up. Mostly, the first meeting is like this. Then you now begin to run after one another. Please, don't let it be like that. Please, let's keep up the spirit. Let's please attack it. I know as we work, we'll be encouraged to come the more. Once we see that what we are doing is yielding, we'll be encouraged to come. It's only when we are working and we are not seeing anything. I already something yesterday. They compare it to a rocking chair. That you have a lot of motion,
no movement.
But no movement. Yesterday night, I said, they just say that a lot of motion, serious motion. Energy is dissipated, but no progress. Please, our will not be like that.
The MDC of Nigerian Mortgage Refinance Company, Kehinde Ogundemu, highlighted the project overview, goals and deliverables, roles and responsibilities, communication plan and meetings, technical working group costs and expenses and project roadmap and milestone for smooth sailing of the steering committee.
There are three key goals that we have, which I call the deliverables. The first one is the framework for setting up the data center itself. So there's one thing about getting data, but where do we house them and all of that. Temporarily, we can house them in a portal that NMRC will provide, but we need to have something that is national, and so that's the first task. What will that data center look like? Where will it be housed? And all of those things. So there will be a technical committee that will address that issue all around the data warehouse itself or the data center. So that's our first delivery, that we need to have all the modalities, the technical aspects, and we'll pull resources from everywhere that we can get so that we have something that is holistic and good for the nation.
Other committee members gave their observations and contributions that are necessary for effective policy making and planning.
We need something that is verifiable, something that is credible. And the coordinating chairman said it must also have a national, wherever we're going to put it, must have a national outlook. There are many issues to look into when embarking on this journey. If I am happy, seeing the CBN here, Bureau of Statistics, and APC. I must especially thank the Director General of the Nigerian Population Commission for coming here personally. It shows the importance of this matter to them. What are the housing characteristics? What is the population demography? Households and characteristics. Many issues we are going to look into. And I think this will be dealt with properly. like the technical working. It's good to not go to reason. It's good to be disagreement, controversy, argument between those who have the facts. So I want to appeal to the December. Please let us start the journey immediately. I must tell you that Nigeria's institutional offices of laws and otherwise will be co-opted. The president should be notified and nobody will be co-opted. Because we also have what it takes.
So when you talk about real estate, it's a bit different from housing. Housing connotes residential, real estate connotes that we're talking of not just residential, or commercial and public buildings.
Correct.
And when we're collecting information, our focus is essentially on housing. So we may have a structure for collecting real estate, but then we need to also have some measure, some way of drilling it down to also be specific to housing as well, so that we get both the fuller picture of the real estate market, but also have specifics regarding the housing estate as well.
The Association of Housing Corporations provides what we call State of the Nation address on the first Monday on every habitant day. And so I like them to be part of the technical committee also. Because even as I'm talking to you, data is being gathered from all housing corporations on the housing developments in all the states of the federation.
President of the Nigerian Labour Congress, Joe Ajaero, has been released on bail by the Department of State Security shortly before midnight, narrowly meeting the deadline set by unionists. He had been detained earlier that morning at Abuja's Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport while preparing to travel to the UK for an official conference. Ajaero was scheduled to participate in the British Trade Union Congress in London, which commenced yesterday. According to an NLC national officer, the DSS confirms Ajaero's release on bail. The National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, has called on the government to increase the student loan upkeep allowance from 20,000 naira to 40,000 naira, citing the growing cost of education. NANS Senate President Akintaye Babatunde made this appeal during a press briefing in Abuja, stressing the financial strain on students. Babatunde also discouraged protests, urging students to consider demonstration only as a last resort if dialogue with the government fails. He further called for the removal of non-performing ministers, criticizing certain ministries for being passive and failing to communicate effectively with Nigerians. Babatunde urged the government to become more dynamic and responsive to the country's challenges. The House of Representatives Committee on Public Account has criticized the Bureau for Public Enterprise for allegedly squandering 10 billion naira on registering 2 companies for the Nigerian Postal Service, which folded up just a year after the launch. Chairman of the committee, Honorable Bamidele Salam, expressed his disbelief that 10.4 billion naira was spent on registering NIPOS Transport and Logistics Limited and NIPOS Property, only for it to cease operations in May 2024, barely a year after it was launched. The head of finance and accounts, Imam Riowal, however, defended the expenditure, stating that 423 million was used for registration and preparatory activities, while 400 million naira was allocated to PBE for the groundwork before takeoff. The committee questioned the justification for spending government funds before approval and demanded relevant approvals before the funds were released.
And they actually took off in what year?
2020, last year. They took off.
They took off 2023.
Yes. They were registered 2022, they took off 2023. And then they were delisted.
And today, 2024, those corporations have been delisted. They are no longer in existence.
No longer in existence.
The corporations we spend 10 billion naira to give back to are no longer in existence 1 year after.
No, sir, it's not like that, sir.
It's like how, sir?
Yes, actually, the old money was not spent. So, this, we are sorry that this submission was not paid. 1, 2, 3.
Was your own 400 million naira spent?
Yes, we spent the 400.
You spent the 400 million naira
yes,
as
sir.
part of the money to give back to some new corporations.
Yes, sir.
1 year after they are dead.
No, what happened was that they actually took off, and the money they spent, everything is on page 4. Sorry,
The money that who spent?
each of the companies. So the money they spent.
No, I'm just asking an introductory question.
Yes, sir.
The purpose of that money is to form those corporations.
Yes, sir.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Are the corporations alive as we speak, as you and I speak?
No, sir.
That's-
Due to presidential directive, they were delisted this year, but not all the monies was spent. That was I'm
Not all the 10 billion was spent.
No, they were not
But
spent.
your own 400 million was spent 100%.
Yes, it was more or less like even pre-incorporation expenditure. So NIPOST 2017, the National Council on Privatization, that's the council, the board of PPE, gave approval that NIPOST should be reorganized. So 2 subsidiaries were created. So we have NIPOST Transport and Logistics Services Limited, and then we have NIPOST Properties and Development Company Limited. So because of a lot of political issues, and of course at times the NCP board maybe was not in place due to maybe changing political situations. So it was in 2022 that the subsidiaries were created, but this year, the subsidiaries have been delisted. So that's what. So the sum actually was for the takeoff of the subsidiaries of NIPOST.
In his ruling, the chairman of the committee directed the Director General of PBE, Ayodeji Gbelehin, to appear before the committee on September 11 with all relevant documents, while expressing displeasure at the apparent violation of the Public Procurement Act. Flooding in Bauchi State has claimed 24 lives with 163 others injured, and widespread destruction reported across 16 local government areas. Damages estimated at over 22 billion naira include the loss of livestock, homes and key infrastructure. State Commissioner for Humanitarian Affairs Hajara Yakubu Wanka made this known to journalists after an executive council meeting led by Governor Bala Muhammad. According to the commissioner, a committee has been tasked with assessing the full extent of the damage, but preliminary reports show significant losses, including the destruction of major roads, culverts and electric poles. Wanka noted that no official displacement camps were set up, with victims instead of staying with relatives after initially being housed in local schools. The government is collaborating with health, education and other ministries to address the impact of the disaster. Residents of Odogun in Lagos State have staged a protest against the illegal demolition of their homes. They claim that some state officials, in coalition with the Onikoro family, have executed a dubious 1936 judgment still under legal disputes. The committee issued a statement following a meeting recently calling on the state government to step in and prevent further unrest. They highlighted ongoing civil suits and an appeal related to the contested judgment. Youth leader Aliu Hassan Fijabi has asked state authorities to address the situation and halt the demolition, emphasizing the need for government intervention to resolve the conflict. After the break, more stories coming your way.
Housing TV Africa on YouTube and click on the subscribe button. Subscribe to Housing TV Africa to stay updated on latest happenings in Nigeria's housing sector. Follow our social media pages, like and share our posts on Facebook, Housing TV Africa, on Twitter, Housing TV Africa, Instagram, Housing TV Africa. Join the conversation and keep up with latest housing updates.
Glad to have you join us back on Housing TV News at the top of the hour. Parents at Larger Community Junior Secondary School in Ikorodu, Lagos State, are growing frustrated as a classroom damaged by a rainstorm on April 21, 2024 remains unrepaired. Despite serving over 100 students, the classroom had not been fixed 5 months after the incident, and the state government has yet to take action. With the new school term starting on Monday, students are facing the prospect of studying in cramped and substandard conditions. The community's repeated appeal for government intervention have so far gone unanswered. As part of effort to ensure accurate and professional reporting and to keep abreast of the off-cycle governorship elections in Edo State slated for Saturday, 21st September 2024, and Ondo State slated for 16th November 2024, the Independent National Electoral Commission on Friday organized a media briefing for members of the INEC Press Corps in Abuja, where it charged the media to uphold truth, integrity in its coverage of both elections. In his opening remark to journalists, the National Commissioner and Chairman Information and Voter Education Committee, Sam Olumekun, who was represented by Director of Voter Education and Publicity, Mary Nkem, says the briefing became necessary due to the crucial role media play in shaping democracy in any democratic country.
This briefing, therefore, becomes necessary, knowing the crucial role you play in shaping our democracy. As the fourth estate of the realm, the media is not just a conveyor of information, but also a vital player in democratic process, particularly during elections, as we have now. Your work influences public perception, informs voter decisions, and upholds the integrity of electoral process. This engagement is no doubt timely as preparations for the conduct of the off-cycle governorship election in Edo State is only 15 days away.
Olumekun stated that training of security agencies and ad hoc staffs, which started on the 6th of September, will end on the 15th in Benin City, with the mock election to commence during same period to test run the deployment of the BVAS and IRF machine to ascertain the Commission's level of preparedness towards the Edo election.
Training of security personnel has been concluded, while the training of ad hoc staff, that is supervisory presiding officers and assistant presiding officers, commences today and will run up to 15th of September 2024. The Commission is concluding arrangements with the Land and Marine Transport Unions for logistics. The printing of triplicate copies of voters' register for each of the 4,519 polling units in Edo State is virtually completed. The installation and employment of election day is completed. Observers and accreditation tags are being produced as we speak.
Presentation of the roles of the media in a democratic election and the INEC social media platform and INEC News as well on tips on the accreditation of media online was delivered by INEC staff at the workshop.
When you report, your headline, the first paragraph, is what people go away with. If, for instance, you say the supporters of Mr. A are attacking the supporters of Mr. B in the political party, and people see that on social media, that could provoke mobilization on the part of the candidates of the other party that feels threatened to go there and cause pain. Now, you put the lives of voters at risk, you put the lives of our officials at risk, you even put the life of journalists that didn't see your report at risk. So discretion is extremely important. We need to be careful how we report, we need to be responsible how we report.
The Commission has concluded arrangements with the Land and Maritime Transport Union for logistics with the printing of triplicate copies of voters' registers for each of the 4,419 polling units in Edo State virtually completed. The off-cycle governorship elections in Edo and Ondo will be holding on Saturday 21st September 2024 and Ondo on 16th November 2024 respectively. The naira has weakened against the dollar in the parallel market, falling to 1,660 naira per dollar from 1,645 naira the previous week. In contrast, the naira strengthened in the Nigerian autonomous foreign exchange market, appreciating to 1,580 naira per dollar from 1,593.32. This represents a 12.86 naira gain for the naira. Trading data reveals a 22% drop in the volume of dollars traded in FM, decreasing to $197.37 million from $254.17 million. The spread between the parallel market and FM rate has widened to 79.54 naira per dollar from 51.68 naira. Russian officials say they shot down 144 Ukrainian drones around the countries overnight in a wave of attacks that have killed one woman, set residential buildings on fire, and grounded flights in Moscow. The governor of Moscow, Andriy Voronin, mentioned that several flats in two high-rise apartment buildings in Ramanskoye and Moscow region were set on fire. Mr. Voronin stated that a 46-year-old woman died and 3 people were injured in Ramanskoye, while 43 people were evacuated to temporary accommodation centers. Ukraine has so far not commented on the attacks. American actor James Earl Jones, best known for being the voice of the Star Wars villain Darth Vader, has died aged 93. He died early on Monday morning surrounded by his family, according to a statement released by Agent Barry. Jones starred in dozens of films, including Field of Dreams, Coming to America, Conan the Barbarian, and The Lion King. He was best known for giving the Star Wars supervillain Darth Vader his distinctive, gravelly voice. The Super Falconets are set to face Japan in the round of 16 at the 2024 FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup, with a match scheduled for Friday, September 13 at the Estadio Metropolitano de Bogota. Christopher Danjuma's squad advanced after a decisive 4-0 victory over Venezuela, securing second place in their group behind Germany. The group stage included a win over South Korea and a loss to Germany, who topped the table. Japan, the team's next opponent, enters the knockout stage with a perfect record, having scored 13 goals and conceded only once in their group matches. They dominated New Zealand, Ghana, and Austria to top Group E with an impressive goal difference. Nigeria's Junior D Tigers will take on Uganda for their second game of the 2024 FIFA AfroBasket Under-18 Championship at Rembrandt Hall of the University of Pretoria in South Africa. Nigeria started the championships on a sore note, losing 70-57 to Egypt in their Group B opener on September 4, but clawed their way back in contention in their second game against Angola on Saturday, edging the South Africans 70-65. The 6-time champions had to leave themselves from a 10-point deficit early in the fourth quarter to clinch the win in one of the most exciting games of the day, as Adua Isaac Ezekiel 21 points, 6 rebounds, and team captain Aziz Suleiman 20 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists and 10 steals put them on victory that took them to second position in the standings behind Egypt with a 100% record. Uganda head into today's clash looking for their first win after capitulating against Angola 89-73 and Egypt 73-50 in their first 2 outings in the group, leaving them rock bottom. The FIBA Under-18 AfroBasket 2024 tipped off on Sunday, September 1 and will round off on September 14. That's the much you can take on Housing TV News at the top of the hour. Before we go, here's a recap of our top stories. Housing Data Steering Committee holds maiden meeting, promises to deliver on mandate. NLC President released on bail. Reps Committee indicts Bureau for Public Enterprise over 10 billion naira wastage. Parents frustrated as damaged classroom at Ikorodu school remains unrepaired. In business, Naira weakens in parallel market, strengthens in NAFEM. On the foreign scene, James L. Jones, voice of Darth Vader, dies aged 93. In sports, Super Falconer to face Japan. To get more stories in the housing sector, subscribe to Housing TV Africa on YouTube. Follow Housing TV Africa on all social media platforms. Don't forget to download the Housing TV Africa mobile app on Google Play Store and App Store to stay connected. I am Flora Oni. Thanks for watching.
Visit Housing TV Africa on YouTube and click on the subscribe button. Subscribe to Housing TV Africa to stay updated on latest happenings in Nigeria's housing sector. Follow our social media pages, like and share our posts. On Facebook, Housing TV Africa. On Twitter, Housing TV Africa. Instagram, Housing TV Africa.
Housing TV Africa, your first in housing development broadcasting.